Welcome to the Haasonline trade server. Okay, let's go over the basics of a trade bot and an order bot. Let's head over to the trade bot first. If you want to make a new trade bot, you go up here to new trade bot and then you select which exchange you'd like to trade on, for example Coinbase, and you select your currency, euro, sterling, or dollar, for example. And you can also give your trade bot a name so that you know what's going on. So I've already set up a trade bot for us. Let's take a look. And you press the I to go into the trade bot. Okay, here we are. And I've got a few indicators and I want to, actually I'm just going to take those away. So what you do is you just press X away and X again. Let's take that away. All right, so each trade bot is made up of three basic parts, and safeties, indicators, and insurances. Each trade bot needs to have, as a minimum, one indicator or one safety. It's a good idea to have at least two indicators or at least one indicator and an insurance, but that's up to you. You can also use one indicator on a long time frame and also have success, but in general, recommended would be one indicator and one insurance. Okay, let's take a look and figure out why that is. So indicators are going to produce the buy and sell signals, and we've got several indicators. There are some indicators that are more like oscillators. There are some that are based on averages, moving averages, etc. So there are a lot of different ways to produce buy or sell signals. So let's maybe use something that you might be familiar with. For example, we've got here a moving average. It's pretty simple, and let's add that. So we've got the moving average here, and if you click it like I just did, then we can see what's going on here. So we've got Coinbase, Bitcoin, Euro, and we can change that. So every indicator, you can decide what exchange it gets its signal from. So we're trading on Coinbase here, but we can get our signal from maybe okcoin.cn, and then we're going to produce our buy and sell signals from that exchange and trade on another. So that's called inter-exchange. That's one thing the indicator can do. Another thing you need to check out is the interval. So that's the time that it updates. So we got a 10-minute MA here, or we're going to use a 1 hour, we're going to use a 4 hour. Let's use a relatively long time frame. Let's use a 4 hour MA. You can select different candles. You can use ashy candles or standard, and there's also this kind of delay effect, but we're not going to get into that right now. And you can also use buy or sell signals, and you can make it a master indicator. We're going to talk about that later. And so yeah, then you have the length of the MA, short and long. These are just the defaults, and right now we're just going to set up a default MA on the 4 hours. That's it. That's what we did. And let's go back. All right, and so what are we going to do now? Well, we're going to add an insurance because we want to kind of filter the indicator. So MA is cool. All indicators are good, really, but they don't work in every market. So what we can do is we can try to filter it with an insurance. For example, we have a lot of insurances here. We have overcome fee costs, or we have also some new ones, trade sideways or trade volatile. So let's use one of the new ones, trade volatile, and that's going to say, okay, you produced a sell signal indicator, like here red, that's a sell signal. Does the insurance agree that this is a trending market? If so, if it says yes, then sell. Same thing for buy. Produces a buy signal and the insurance agrees it's okay, then it will buy. And that's the basic relationship between the indicators and the insurance. You could also say, okay, I want to add one called overcome fee costs. So that's going to make sure that the price has changed at least enough to where you overcome the fee cost. So those are examples of insurances. Okay, let's say we don't think that this is a trending market. We think this is a sideways market. We want to make a different trade bot that's going to run at the same time but in a different bot, and we want to use one for a sideways market. Okay, well, probably for a sideways market, we want to use an oscillator. There is the classic RSI, relative strength indicator. Let's check that out. Okay, and we've got the basic RSI set up, and we need to decide, okay, what exchange are we going to get the signal from? We could use the same exchange. That's also fine. And how often is this going to update? So are we going to use a 30-minute RSI, a 1-hour RSI? Let's use a 1-hour RSI. And we can just keep everything to default, and we've got ourselves a 1-hour RSI standard. All right, great. So, and we've also got the insurance overcome fee costs to make sure that we don't kill ourselves on the fees. So we at least overcome them. So that's the basic of indicators and insurances. What you can do is, of course, you can select more than one indicator. So we could have an RSI and a MACD, and only when these two indicators agree is a buy and sell signal created, and then the insurance has to agree too, and then an action is taken. So you could also get rid of the insurance, and you could just have a bunch of indicators. You could have even 3 indicators if you want. You can do 2 RSIs, or you could do a SMA with this too. So we've got oscillators, we've got MACD, we've got moving averages, we've got lots of different signals, and only when they all agree, an action is going to be taken. So that's an example of some of the setups you can do. Now I want to show you another part of the bot, and that's the safeties. So the safeties are going to override everything else, just in case. So for example, let's look at the static roof in and the static drop loss first. Okay, so the static roof in is going to say buy if the price reaches X. So let's say, okay, it's 237 now. Well, if it goes to 241, I think we're going to the moon. So I want to make sure I buy in then, because otherwise I'm going to miss the trend. So we're going to hit update, and 241, it's going to buy in no matter what, no matter what our indicators say. It's going to override them and buy in. And drop loss is the exact opposite. And let's say, okay, well, man, if it goes to 231, then I think that we're really going to test that 220 range again. I want to get out and I want to try to buy back cheaper. So 231, that's my limit. All right, and that's it. So we basically have a stop at 231 and a buy in at 241. That's our range. As long as we're between that range, our indicators are going to trade. That's a kind of basic strategy. You create a range with your safeties, and your indicators trade in the meantime, and if it goes out of your range, then you've got a safety ready to go in. Okay, so what else is there? Well, there's also something called a dynamic roof in and a dynamic drop loss, and what that's going to do is a little bit different. So the dynamic drop loss is very similar to a so-called trailing stop order. If you might be familiar with that if you've ever traded before. And we're going to use the dynamic roof in. So it's the same idea as the static drop loss and the static roof in. However, it's calculated differently. So instead of a static price, we're going to recalculate this. So let's say, all right, let's use 98. So if it drops by 2%, then I want to sell. And how often am I going to recalculate this, if it dropped 2%? Well, if I want a really tight one, then, something like 10 minutes would be good. If I want a looser one, I want to, I don't want to sell on every little dump, then maybe I need to go to, something like 2 hours or even 4 hours, longer term trade, and I'm going to hit update. So that's only going to get triggered at the major sell-offs. Whereas if I do something like 30, then that's gonna, get sold off a lot quicker. Depends on what you want. Okay, and we've got the roof in. That works the exact opposite. So that's going to buy in when the price goes up. So let's say, again, when it goes up by 2%, for example, and that's going to be updated every 10 minutes and recalculated. Or what if I want to say, okay, I don't want to, I want to make that, a little slower, then maybe I want to go to 4 hours, or I want to go to 2 hours, or even 6 hours, etc. Right, I could do 720 minutes. It's really up to you, but that's going to recalculate automatically. Whereas the static one, if it gets triggered, you're probably going to have to reset that. Okay, so let's go back. So we've got the safeties, we've got the indicators. Let's go back and let's take a look at an order bot. So the order bots are a little bit simpler. What they do is they create a buy or sell depending on a very simple condition. So let's see. So we've got here buy order or sell order. So let's say buy order and buy when the price is higher than or lower than X. So let's say we want to buy low. So if we've got some big sell-offs today, let's say 228, I want to buy 1 Bitcoin, update, and I'm ready to go. And that's not going to depend on any indicators or anything else in my interface. As long as I can have the fiat to buy 1 Bitcoin, it's going to buy 1 Bitcoin. Okay, and let's make another. Okay, and what I want to show you is, so you can make one order dependent on another. So buy if it's higher than, let's sell if it's higher than 240, but and we're going to do 1 Bitcoin, but I only want to do that if my buy order really low got filled. So dependent on complete order, or I could say if this is still open, this is an open order, it's not filled yet, then you're okay. Or I can just say no dependencies. So it's a little bit of a different logic. It's also a simpler logic, really. So you can set up series of these and you can do some high-low trades that can also be really profitable. It's just a different way to think about it. These can work at the same time as your other bots. Okay, and that's the basic of an order bot and the basic of a trade bot. So I hope that helped you. And if you have any questions, check in the description below. You can check out our website. You can check out the Wikipedia. And I've also got some more videos on this channel that explain different strategies, different setups, and different possibilities for you to use this. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.